WXII 12 News. This is breaking news.
Tonight at 10 o'clock, more closures in North Carolina as the number of coronavirus cases continues to rise. The new businesses worried about the future. And 8 more weeks. Schools now out statewide until at least mid-May. Reaction from local education leaders. And unlikely heroes, the surprising role local crafters are playing in the coronavirus pandemic and medical supplies shortage. Big changes are coming to North Carolina schools, many businesses, and social gatherings. Today, Governor Roy Cooper issued an executive order that's going to shut down hair and nail salons, barbershops, gyms, and theaters starting Wednesday evening. The order also makes it a misdemeanor for more than 50 people to assemble. This is all to try and stop the coronavirus from spreading in our state. The health department reports 297 confirmed cases in North Carolina as of 3 this afternoon, but by our count, there are at least 342. This includes 14 new COVID-19 cases in Wake County. There are 31 cases confirmed in the Triad, 12 in Forsyth County and 11 in Guilford, with cases reported in Alamance, Davidson, Davie, Randolph, and Montgomery counties as well. Some states are shutting almost everything down and telling people they need to stay at home. Many people are asking whether that could happen here. And today, a reporter asked Governor Roy Cooper about that. Listen to what he said.
As a state right now, we are preparing for every scenario. Right now, we're not issuing a stay-at-home order, but the situation is constantly evolving. We have taken action to close a number of businesses that provide for close contact where it's hard to have social distancing or mass gatherings, or these businesses that attract mass gatherings. And we are urging strongly the at-risk population that Dr. Cohen defined to stay home as much as possible. And we're urging people to work at home as much as possible.
A state hospital group is asking the governor for a shelter-in-place order. The North Carolina Healthcare Association says Governor Cooper's actions are, quote, not enough to tamp down the surge we anticipate is coming to hospitals in the near future. Cooper's spokeswoman tells WRAL he will continue working closely with hospitals to prepare for every scenario. Meanwhile, some businesses say a statewide shelter-in-place should be a last resort. NC Chambers says instead the state needs to draw on decades of experience dealing with natural disasters and emergency management to avoid a total shutdown. Well, the governor's executive order is also going to keep students out of school for another 8 weeks. The earliest students could go back is May 18th. And in neighboring Virginia, Governor Ralph Northam announced today all their public schools are going to remain closed for the rest of this year. The North Carolina Association of Educators is commending the governor's executive order. The group says the decisions made thus far have been difficult but correct. In a statement, the NCAE says it's asking the State Board of Education and the Department of Public Instruction to further clarify their protocols for educational professionals around employee pay and worksite safety, and call on them to provide the appropriate precautions, protections, resources, and tools that educators need to do their jobs during this incredibly difficult time. And on the heels of the governor's order, the Guilford County Schools leaders updated the public on what they're doing to keep the coronavirus out of classrooms. Our Brandon Bates was in the room this evening. He joined us now live in Greensboro with the school district's response. Brandon?
Yeah, well, Brianna, Guilford County School Superintendent Sharon Contreras really sympathized with parents tonight in Guilford County trying to keep their children educated while they're away from school. One major issue they continue to face is that many students don't have access to internet while they're at their houses away from school to continue learning and continue their education. Now, school leaders started the meeting tonight by ensuring parents that while school will be out longer, they will be ramping up what is offered as far as the online learning. Not just that, the superintendent said more guidance is also on the way for parents struggling to get their kids to focus or to pay attention at this time. As far as students with no internet, many don't have laptops either. But today, volunteers and school resource officers started delivering computers to children in need, paid for by community donations.
Again, I understand the frustration. I am the superintendent and I am going through similar frustration. And I am very familiar with Canvas and with the district curriculum, and it is frustrating.
She said Guilford County Schools will continue to provide food to those in need at their grab-and-go sites and their satellite sites in certain locations around the city. Also, if schools are in fact closed until May 15th, that means when students go back, they have less than 4 weeks in school before summer break. The superintendent said she's not sure if school would extend into kids' summer break or not. Now, as far as graduation for many of these seniors, the superintendent says that is not canceled or postponed just yet. She will assess the situation in the coming weeks or months. Reporting live in Greensboro tonight, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Brandon. Tonight, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to prevent price gouging during this coronavirus pandemic. Under the order, hoarding supplies and essential items and selling them at prices greater than the general retail cost is prohibited. The president can also designate some items as scarce. U.S. Attorney General William Barr says that order will not target consumers who purchase essential supplies. Well, the president is also pushing back the deadline for people to get a real ID because of the coronavirus. Originally, all Americans needed a real ID compliant form of identification to fly or enter a federal building by October 1st. The president did not say when the new deadline is going to be. The Senate is trying to overcome a partisan standoff today and pass a multi-trillion-dollar package. It's designed to send a lifeline to Americans devastated by this virus and its economic ripple effects. This package would include checks for laid-off workers and help for small businesses and hospitals facing urgent supply shortages. Democrats say the bill needs stronger protections for workers and tighter rules for corporate bailouts. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says House Dems will unveil their own coronavirus stimulus plan, but Republicans say the time to act is now.
Today's the day it has to stop. The country's out of time.
Democrats take responsibility for our workers. We require that any corporation that takes taxpayer dollars must protect their workers' wages and benefits, not CEO pay, stock buybacks, or layoffs.
Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve is trying to ease stock market panic by buying up debt and offering loans. The COVID-19 pandemic is forcing major changes in the sports world. An International Olympic Committee member tells USA Today the 2020 Summer Games in Tokyo will be delayed. The Games will probably be postponed until 2021. We expect the details to be decided over the next month. At least 5 countries had already expressed major concerns about sending their athletes to Japan. This past weekend, American track and field athletes and swimmers called on the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee to postpone. With more than $12 billion invested in the Tokyo Olympics, Japan's prime minister says postponing the games may be unavoidable, but canceling is not an option. Hansbrands is working to relieve the protective gear shortage. The Winston-Salem-based company says it is retrofitting some Parkdale Mills plants to make N95 masks. There are Parkdale Mills facilities in Lexington and in Thomasville. Well, the call is out for crafters to step up and use their sewing machines to support medical care providers. In Winston-Salem, 100 volunteers are already getting busy. WXII 12's Leanne Dinyers shows us how they're helping.
Healthcare providers around the country are saying they need more supplies, whether that's gowns or masks. So now crafters, they're gathering their supplies. They're taking to their sewing machines to do what they can to help out. With each stitch, a step towards getting desperately needed protective face masks to medical care providers. The FDA acknowledges there is a shortage, and in the triad, some providers say they need help and masks.
All 900 requested masks are here in Winston-Salem.
Crafters around North Carolina, around the country even, are taking to their sewing machines, cutting what's being described as a rather simple pattern and producing something for those without enough personal protective equipment or PPEs to safely treat their patients during this COVID-19 outbreak.
This is not an N95 mask. We are well aware of the fact that this is not going to keep away totally all of the particulates and all of the, the virus, but it's a barrier.
While observing social distancing from her home, Melissa Vickers, the force behind Project Face Mask Winston-Salem, says she's organizing local sewers to help.
This is a skill set that I have. I can sew. I sew every single day, so I can get down into my basement and I can quickly. Last night, in an hour and a half, I made 10 masks. So I know that these are going to go into the hands of people who actually need them. She
says they're looking for sewers, donations, even volunteers just to cut fabric, and encouraging those who want a homemade mask to request so on their site.
It's very surreal to be here right now, leading the charge and putting these masks into production. It's not something that I normally would do, right? I usually sew handbags and weighted blankets. We realize that just because these masks get sewn today, that need is still probably going to be there for weeks to come.
With each stitch, a small show of support for those charged with continuing to provide critical care. So this might be just the project to get some of that extra fabric that's been lying around the house, but that's a good use. If you do make one of these homemade masks, there's going to be several collection spots around the Triad this week to help get that to healthcare providers in need. We're going to have a list of those locations on our website. In Winston-Salem, Leanne Denyer, WXII 12 News.
Thanks, Leanne. Reassuring news for parents now. So far, children seem to be able to survive COVID-19. In Europe, where the outbreak is more severe, governments are sharing information with us about the virus. The data shows less than 1% of everyone who has died is younger than 50, and no child under 14 has died. The virus was fatal for one child in China. Medical experts say this doesn't mean younger individuals can't get a severe case of the virus. They are, however, likely to recover.